What's up guys, Todd Kelly, Shuswap Outdoors. Today we are talking custom scope turrets for your Z series Swarovski rifle scopes. When I started hunting in the early 90s, the go-to setup for scopes was a 3 to 9 by 40. You would sight it in 2.5 to 3 inches high at 100 yards. That would put you around 0 at 200 yards and 3 to 4 inches low at 300 yards, depending on the caliber and load you were shooting at the time. For the most part, guys wouldn't shoot past 300 yards because you were guessing on your holdover past those ranges. It was really difficult, especially in mountainous terrain, knowing how high you were holding over an animal. With bullet technology through the 90s getting a lot better, rangefinders becoming more common, advancements in rifles and scopes, guys started taking stuff from the sniper competition shooting world and bringing it over into the hunting world. And that's where long range shooting on animals really took off, was the early 2000s. With that came a couple different options for shooting. One of the first ones was a ballistic reticle. And I'll put one up here as an example. If you're not familiar with it, you have your main hash mark and then a bunch of hash marks down below it. You would sight in your rifle with the main hash mark, go out and use a ballistic program on your computer and range verifying your data, and each hash mark would have a different value to it. One of the things I didn't like about the ballistic reticle was the hash marks do not line up perfectly with any load out there. So your main one might be zeroed at 100 yards. The next hash mark down might be 250. The next one below that might be 330. And the next one down below that might be 405. And the other problem with the ballistic reticle is it depends on the power you have your rifle scope set up at. So even here I got a 3.5 to 18. If my main reticle chart is set up at 18 power and I go to shoot it and I only have it at 16.5 or 17, those values change. And the lower you go down on your power, the more extreme those changes are. Your first hash mark might go from 250 to 600 yards on your lowest power. And so you're still guessing on where your holdover is with that system. I did have a couple buddies that were out of a range once where the guy had a ballistic reticle, was shooting at 400 meters, nailing it every time. Had another buddy come over and shoot his gun, and when he sat down, he changed the power down a little bit, shot, and he missed. And the guy who owned the rifle came over and looked and said, "Oh, well, you changed the power. We got to move it up to the max power for that hash mark to work where you need to hold it on." So I found that system to be a little clunky. You still needed a drop chart with you if you were not going to shoot on your maximum power all the time. So you'd actually need a couple different drop charts for it to work. The other thing I didn't like about it being clunky is when you're looking through your reticle, you might look at your chart, which a lot of guys taped onto their stock, and being at max power, the third one down is 362. You go back down, the animal's moving, you're having to count those hash marks and be accurate where you're at with those. That's fine if you're in the tighter ranges, but it doesn't really help on longer ranges where an animal is going to be small and not fit into those hash marks very well. The other option that guys started using was using your turret on the top and dialing it in so your main reticle you're holding dead on center every time at every range. When I saw the Swarovski Z series, first the Z3 and Z5 came out with the ballistic turret, and I absolutely love that idea of I can range an animal, swing my dial over to the range, get down and shoot it. So it made me a lot more accurate with my shots. The reticle is clean, clear, simple to use, super fine for those long distance shots. Swarovski gives you little 3 rings that are color coded, green, yellow, and red. You pick your zero distance, whether it be 100 yards, 150, 200, whatever you want. Then you go out, use a ballistic program, go out and shoot at a range to verify your other distances. So mine, for example, my zero's at 100. My next dot is 200, 300, 400. And that's the option with the 3. When you're shooting in between distances, this is kind of the downfall of the 3 rings, is you're guessing again a little bit on your clicks. It's not too bad at the shorter distances, but when you get the longer distances, past 300 yards, is where the issue becomes on your counting clicks. You range something at, say, 420. You might guess on how many clicks past that you are. And if you want to shoot past your last dot here, you need a drop chart again to know, okay, from 4 to 500 yards is another 12 clicks. If it's 450, I back it off, it's only 6 clicks type thing. So you're still guessing a little bit with this system on the in-between distances. That's where something like a custom scope turret from Custom Scope Turret in New Zealand comes into play. They can customize a sleeve to replace the 3 rings here to whatever you want, to however you shoot, whatever yardage you're looking at. It's completely customizable. They're great guys to deal with. No issues with this being shipped from New Zealand into Canada. It was really quick, no problem through customs. So I kept mine ring really simple. I like starting out at 100 meters. I know a lot of guys for longer range shooting start at 200 meters. That gives them more dial to use on those longer distances. I do a lot of meat hunting where I do headshots if I can up into the 300, 350 mark, and that's why I like having it start out at 100 meters. One of the other problems I've had with the color-coded system is you range an animal, it's 350, and I swing it over in a panic. I get back down and then I look out of the corner of my eye and be like, no, I'm on 250, not 350. I gotta move over to the next system. And that's just being in a panic, rushing on an animal. But being color-coded, there's not like a big number 3 in your face to let you know, oh, I'm at 300 yards or 400 yards or whatever. So to put one of these custom sleeves on your turret, it's really easy with the Swarovski. They give you the little plastic coin here to undo the top. Unscrew it, remove your rings, put your base, bezel, whatever you want to call this bottom part, on your zero. Grab whatever zero you have made on your custom sleeve here, line it up, and slide it down. And it's a nice tight fit on there. Grab your top cap and your key here and retighten the top. And that's it. It's that easy, that simple to install. And now you have a custom turret to whatever you wanted and how you shoot your rifle. So now the nice thing I have the 100-yard ranges marked with a big number and 25-yard hash marks in between, with the 50 being a little taller hash mark. So it's a nice quick system. I range an animal, it's 350, I swing over 3 and to the longer hash mark in between the 3 and the 4, and I'm at 350. If the animal moves, I rearrange it, 375, I move it over to the next one, and I'm dialed in perfectly. The other nice thing with a custom one is you get more options than just the 3. So with this, even being at 100-meter starting point, this goes all the way to 600 meters now. I don't have to have a separate drop chart with me that I have to reference, and I can dial in 550, 525, any of those ranges in between. And in between the hash marks now, it's a lot easier to split the difference. With the 25 meter hash marks marked out already, you're only splitting that 25 at a time ever, which is usually only 1 or 2 clicks out at the longer distances, where with the 3-ring system, you're still kind of counting and guessing a little bit, especially when an animal's moving and you're doing things quickly and you don't have a lot of time. The guys from Custom Scope Turrets are fantastic to deal with. They also do stuff for Night Force scopes. They can hook you up. As I said, they can customize everything. They'll run your load data that you provide them through their own programs to verify that the information's accurate and exactly what you want. So your custom sleeve here is printed perfectly and accurately to the load you're shooting, and something that you've verified out in the field. Anyways, if you have any comments, questions, put those on down below. I always look at the comments section. Hit the thumbs up if you like the video, and if you're into more hunting, fishing, camping, gear review content, please subscribe. Anyways, thanks for watching.